Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to solve the cyclic rotation task of Codility. So let's get into it. As you can see, right now I'm at lesson 2 and here is the cyclic rotation task. This is the task description. Go ahead, pause this video, take a look at it and try to write the solution for it, and then come back and see my solution in JavaScript. Okay, I assume you've done that, so let's get started. Here, basically what we're gonna need to do is to write a function which is called solution, and it's taking 2 arguments. The first one is an array consisting of n integers, and the second one, which is k, is basically the number of times that this array should be rotated. Yeah, and what is the rotation? As it says, for example, if we rotate this array a by 1, so if k was 1, then 6 would have come to the beginning, 3 would have gone to the second place, and the same for the others, like all of them would shift 1 to the right. And now that is 3, so it means that each element will move to right 3 times. I hope that's clear. Now I'm going to show you my solution. Here's my solution. As you can see, I've gotten 100% and it took me 15 minutes. If someone's from Codility is watching this video, guys, it's a bit annoying because once I solve the challenge here, once I solve it, I cannot, if I close the result page, I cannot access it again. Here I can see that I've got 100%, but I cannot access the result page again, and I see the code that I've written. So I don't know if I cannot access it, maybe it's somewhere here, I can't see it, but it would be great if you just give us the possibility to access our code that we've written. I've print screened this. Actually, I just saved the page as PDF, so that's how I can access it and show you my code. So anyways, let's get started. Here's my code. We have here first I check if k modulo a.length is equal to 0. So what is that? I'm checking if k is divisible by the length of the array. Why am I doing that? The reason is that if k is divisible by the length of the array, it means that we don't need to change anything. So for example, here I will show you on this example, we have 5 elements in array A, right? So if so the length is 5, and if k was 5 as well, 5 is divisible by 5, and if we rotate this 5 times, it will end up being where it is right now. So it doesn't make sense to rotate it. So we won't, right? We check if it's divisible, we won't rotate it. And also if it was, for example, the k was 10, again 10 is divisible by 5, so it means we rotated 5 times, nothing changed. Again 5 times, nothing changed. So we will end up being where we are right now. So in that case, we're not going to rotate it at all. And we return the array, as you can see here. And this percentage sign, if you're not familiar with it, it's the remainder operation, so it returns a remainder. And if it's not divisible, we come to this part. If it's not divisible, we set k to be equal to the remainder of k divided by the length of the array, right? Why do we do that? Partially because of the same reasons. So imagine here, we again look at this example. The length of A is 5. And imagine right now if k was 6. So we have to rotate this array 6 times. But we know that if we rotate it 5 times, it's going to end up being where it is right now. So only the 6th time when we rotate it, it will result in a change, right? And what would be the result similar to? It would be exactly the same as if we rotate that array 1 time, right? Because if we do it 5 times, it's going to be the same, and we rotate it another time, so it will be which would be 6th time, and that's similar to if we rotate it only once. And here, for example, the length is 5, and if k would have been 6, then 6 modulo 5, the remainder is 1. So we set k to 1. Instead of rotating it 6 times, we will rotate it only once. I hope it's clear. Okay, that's the case if the k is more than the length. What if k, like here, is less than the length? Right now k is 3 in this example. Well, in that case, 3 modulo 5 is 3. So nothing changed, we are still good to go. Alright, let's continue. So we have our k here, and after that I declare 2 variables. One is new a. This is the array that we're going to return. As you can see here, we're returning it. So I initialize it to an empty array, and I declare another variable and call it a index. This is going to point to the elements of a, to the elements of this array. And I will show you in a moment, just to give you just to prepare you for that. A index, as I said, points to elements of the original array, and we have 4 loops. We have 2 for loops ahead of us, and in the 4 loops, I that we declare will point to elements of new a, this new array that we're going to return. And we're going to somehow, with some logic, copy elements from the original array to this new a array in a way that it will represent the array after k times rotation. Okay. So right now we start our first for loop, and we declare a variable I, and we instantiate it to k, and we will continue the loop until I is equal to the length of the original array. Why do we do that? I'll show you in a second in an example. Okay, here's my notepad. You can see this in this example, our k is 3, a is this array, I is the index that we're pointing. Okay, sorry, here I should be here actually. I is pointing to our new array, and a index is pointing to a, right? So a index is a variable, and that's holding the index of the element in a that we are dealing with right now. And I is the variable that is holding the index of the element in new array, new a, that we are dealing with right now. As you can see here, we initialized a index to 0, so I will go ahead and put 0 here, and also here we initialize I to be equal to k. In this example, what is k? K is 3, so I put here 3. But why? Why I equals to k? Like, why aren't we starting from 0? So here's my logic. We know that we're going to basically copy these elements somehow to this new array. And we know that the first element is going to be moved to right k times. So because of that, and because our a index is 0, so our a index is pointing to the first element here, we're going to point to the element in the new array that the first element from the original array should be copied to. And since I told you, we know that each element is going to go to right 3 times, we know that the first element from original array is going to be on the kth index in the new array. Let's take a look at it. If we move it towards right 3 times, this is index 0, 1 time, second time, third time. It will end up here. And what is the index here? 0-based index, right? 0, 1, 2, 3. The index is exactly our k. So right now we're pointing at the index number 3 here and at index 0 here. And what we do when we enter the for loop, we simply copy this element to this position. As you can see, we get the element which is located as at a index in the original array, which right now a index is 0, which is 3, pointing to 3, and we set the value of the element with index I in our new array to this 3. Our I is 3 right now, as you remember, and here we are, like we just copied it. And after that, what do? We increment a index, because we already copied this one, so we're gonna need to point to this one. So let's go ahead and increment it, 1. And once we get to the end of the loop, what happens? This I++ will be fired and our I will be incremented. So right now our I will be 4. And this condition will be checked if it's still holding or not. We know that 4 is less than a.length because a.length is 5. And so the condition still meets, so the for loop will be executed again, and right now is pointing here, it copies it, and the I is pointing here, it pastes it here. A index will be incremented to A index will be incremented to 2, and at the end again I will be incremented to 5, and the condition doesn't meet anymore. 5 is not less than 5, so this for loop will terminate. Then we get to the second for loop. What do we do here? We go and we are going to continue in this array because we left out, we copied these two, and right now we're pointing to this one. As you can see, the A index is 2, we're pointing to 9, and we're going to copy these 3 here. How do we do that? Well, this already is pointing to the right one, but our I right now is pointing to the 5th element, which doesn't like the index 5, which doesn't exist. The maximum index is 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and our for loop got terminated. So anyways, we don't have any I anymore, right? Like our I got terminated. And we got to this for loop again. Now we have a new I, and we initialize it to 0. So here we say again, create an I and initialize it to 0. And while I is less than k, do these operations in the loop and then increment I. Why do we say until we reach k? Like what is the reason that we're using this condition? Well, it's simple, because we already have started from index k. If you remember, we started from here, so we already copied the appropriate element here. So what we're going to need to do is to copy these 3, and this is basically why we're looping from index 0 up until index k-1. I hope that's clear. And again, in the for loop, that's exactly the same as the previous for loop. And we copy right now I is 0, A index is 2, 0, 1, 2. This will be copied to index 0. And we increment this, and we increment this one. And again, we copy next one. If we can select it, copy next one, and this will be incremented, and this will be incremented. So right now we're pointing to 0, 1, 2, 3 for this one, and here we copy it, and we increment A index. As you can see here, we get that gets incremented, and we increment this. Increment I to 3, and once I is 3, since our k is 3, 3 is not less than 3, so our for loop gets terminated, and at the end we return new A, which is this, and this is basically this array rotated 3 times. You can check it. 6 rotating once will be here, twice here, and 3 times here. And you can see our 6 is here, and also the rest of the elements. So 7 will be 1, 2, 3, ending up here. So you can see that this solution works. Okay, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it was clear. If it wasn't, go ahead and comment down below and ask your questions. I try to answer your questions. And please, if you like the video, hit the like button, and also subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button to get notified when in the future I'll share more videos about programming and technology and other stuff. So I wish you a wonderful day, and I see you in the next video.